My name is Jamie Garth. I'm on the External Affairs team at Kentucky Youth Advocates. And I first want to say thank you, each and every one of you, for taking time out of your day to join us for the 2024 Children's Advocacy Week Prep webinar. This year is especially important as we are celebrating over 20 years of stepping up for Kentucky kids. We do ask that you stay muted during this session, but we are taking questions and comments via the chat feature, and we'll try to answer those as we go. In addition to that, we will send everyone a follow-up email with a link to a recording of the session. And for anyone who is unable to attend today, the video will be made available on our Kentucky Youth Advocates website, as well as our YouTube channel. So we are going to kick off this session with a short activity. One of my colleagues will be dropping a link of a Menti poll into the chat. And there are a few things that we want to know. The first thing is, how many children's advocacy days or weeks have you attended in the past? We also want to hear about what you feel Kentucky kids deserve and why you consider yourself an advocate for Kentucky kids. All right, the results are rolling in. I think I'll do the poll myself. Oh, it's shifting. Oh, wow. So we have a lot of newbies coming in. Oh, it's kind of like a race. This is a little exciting. All right, so quite a few newbies. Thank you for joining us. I'm really interested in learning about how you came to find out about Children's Advocacy Week. And we have quite a few experienced and pros as well. So thanks for your commitment to Kentucky's kids and for coming back. So our next poll is, every Kentucky kid deserves what? Okay, we have a voice for sure. The best chance to thrive. One supportive adult. Safety, love, and happiness. I love it. To be loved, to be heard. I see mental health services, love, nurturing, and a voice. A chance. Security. Community support. I think these are all obviously amazing things. I think we can all agree that every kid deserves each of these things. And they're probably things that many of us see just in the work that we do, see within our communities, or even within our own families. Yeah, safe place, a birth family, to be valued. All right. And then our last question is, why you consider yourself an advocate for Kentucky kids. Or I speak up for Kentucky kids and families because. They deserve it, absolutely. I was not spoken up for. I have Kentucky kids. You know, sometimes it's that personal motivation, our own experiences. We need each other because they matter. Because you're in a position to be heard. I mean, I think that sums up why we're here today, right? These are all amazing things. So thank you for your participation in the poll. I like to kind of see why we're doing what we're doing, and what's motivating us and what we're passionate about. So for anyone who's new to CALL, which is how we affectionately refer to Children's Advocacy Week, let me give you a brief history lesson. I'll wait for the slide to be pulled up. There it is. Thank you, Kelsey. Children's Advocacy Day at the Capitol began in 2004. So this day was created as an effort to unite advocates from across the state and challenge and inspire them to raise their voices on behalf of children, more specifically in the areas of safety, health, education, and economic well-being. So hundreds of advocates have been coming from different counties across the Commonwealth and gathering in the Capitol in Frankfort every year to rally on behalf of children and to promote priorities on the blueprint for Kentucky's children agenda. It was soon realized that one day was just not enough to really advocate for kids. So there was a shift made, and we began to host a whole week of children's advocacy activities. So personally, this is my second call, but I know that I'm in the company of some very seasoned veterans on my team and for some of you as well. And I'm just so excited to see faces from last year and so many new folks that are committed to bettering outcomes for our kids and for our children and families. But before we jump into what to expect during the week, I wanted to take some time to thank all of our Children's Advocacy Week sponsors, because without them, this crucial advocacy would not even be possible. So thank you to our signature sponsor, Aetna Better Health of Kentucky, and our platinum sponsor, Save the Children, and to our many other partner sponsors, all of which can be found either on the slide or on our website. We definitely couldn't do it without you. We also want to thank all of the Blueprint for Kentucky's Children partner organizations and advocates who consistently show up for kids, including many of you that are on today's forum. Yes, many thanks. So just to give you an overview of today's topics, we're going to hear from some of the KYA team about details for 2 weeks from now, that will help you make the most of all of your advocacy opportunities that you choose to take part of. So we're going to start with Alicia, who's going to share with us what's happening in Frankfort and what we should be aware of going into the week. So Alicia.
Thanks, Jamie. Hi, everyone. My name is Alicia Watley. I'm on the policy team at KYA, and so I'm going to be providing sort of an overview of what we see as a landscape in Frankfort right now and some things to be aware of, hopefully some reminders for folks, or maybe something new if you're not in this space a lot. So I'm going to start with just kind of talking about some basics about the legislative session in Kentucky. So the 2024 General Assembly started on January the 2nd. So we are moving right along. And it is a budget year. And that means that our lawmakers are going to be considering bills like they do every session, but they also are going to be crafting a 2-year state budget over the next few months. And so today is day 7 of 60 working days in this session. And so they will be wrapping up this session on April the 15th. When we say working days, their working day calendar looks a little bit different than some of ours. So the 60 days are spread out between January 2nd and April 15th. We're on day 7 right now. House and Senate members have already been pretty busy over the last week or so, filing nearly 300 bills already to be considered between the two. And we will continue to see new bills that are filed over the next several weeks in both the House and Senate. So what you hear today and some of the updates I give will change tomorrow and every day after as we move forward. There's always things happening. The deadline for any new bills to be filed for both the House and the Senate is in late February this year. So we'll see new bills happening for the next several weeks. So we have a lot of folks on the call who are planning to attend Children's Advocacy Week and maybe follow legislative action really closely already. You might be somebody who often is following bill movement, or these processes. But I also think there's probably some folks who maybe it's been a while since you took a civics class, and that's we expect that and we understand that. So I want to just do a super quick review of some of the processes that we're going to be talking about, things that you'll see KYA sharing, and things that you might want to be aware of going into the Children's Advocacy Week in case you want to speak on any of these issues. So I'm not going to get into too much detail, hopefully, but just enough to give you an idea. So the first thing to know is that any new bills that are filed have to have a legislative sponsor. So either a House member or a Senate member brings a bill forward, and it's given a bill number based on where it starts. So that's either House Bill X or Senate Bill Y. So you'll see us refer to those pretty regularly by their abbreviations, HB or SB, with the bill number. And then bills are assigned to a committee, and that's based on topic. So for instance, if we see a bill that's about healthy school meals, that might get assigned to an education committee because that's the topic area. So to become law, a bill has to pass a committee and the whole chamber in both the House and the Senate by majority votes in all of those settings. So if all of that happens and a bill gets through that whole process, then it can be signed into law by the governor. Of course, this is an oversimplification of this process. Bills are often amended, changed along the way. Bills are sometimes taken away altogether or rescinded. So there's a lot more that goes into this process, but we just kind of want to give you some basics of what to know and what kind of terms you might hear us talk about when it comes to bill movement. So although we expect to see hundreds of bills filed throughout the session, only a fraction of those will actually make it through this whole process. And this session is also a budget session, as I mentioned before, and that means that by April 15th, we will have a new 2-year state budget. So how all of the state's money will be spent for the next 2 fiscal years. And to get to that final version of what that state budget looks like, legislators will consider a budget from the governor, which was already released in December, and then also a budget that begins in the House and gets input along the way from legislators in the House and Senate. The state budget that will be considered will begin as a House bill. So that's something that we can expect to see in the next few weeks. And it will go through several iterations as legislators weigh in and make changes. As you can imagine, thinking about all the money the state's going to spend over the next 2 years takes a lot of work. So KYA is here to monitor all of these legislative processes, and we offer some tools for advocates to stay up to date on legislative action. So you don't have to be in the weeds every day of looking at what's happening with each bill. We're kind of here to do that for you. One of the things that I want to highlight is KYA's bill tracker, and that is a really good resource to see the status of blueprint bills, but also other bills that we think are good for kids that will be tracking where they are in the process and what's happening. And so I just mentioned blueprint bills. I want to do a quick overview of the blueprint in case you're maybe somebody who's newer to KYA. Each year, KYA leads the blueprint for Kentucky's children. And this is an agenda that highlights policy and budget priorities for the General Assembly, and it's backed by hundreds of partners from across the state. Many of you on the call today are probably blueprint partners. And so we want to make sure that you all have seen that. Maybe if you haven't already, it was released in early December this year, or last year. So right now we've actually already seen 3 bills filed that are blueprint priorities. House Bill 71 and Senate Bill 34 both include efforts to improve housing stability for families that you can find outlined on the blueprint. And House Bill 199 relates to the accessibility of freestanding birthing centers, which you can also find outlined on the blueprint. So we're excited to see some movement already in the space of our blueprint bills being filed in the legislature. A couple of things I just want to note. During Children's Advocacy Week, we are going to be offering a virtual session on Monday, the 22nd, so the first day of the week, at noon to 1 Eastern Time. It's virtual and anyone's welcome to attend, and that's really an opportunity for advocates to hear the latest updates on blueprint policies and budget priorities, to see what's, as I said, that's kind of where we are today, but things are going to change probably significantly in the next 2 weeks before that day. So that'll be sort of an up-to-date, in real time update on what's happening with blueprint bills so that you can be aware of what to know for the rest of the week. And there's going to be lots of opportunities for you all to advocate for bills that are on the blueprint and other bills that are good for kids throughout the week. And so I want to turn it over to my colleague Mara to talk a little bit more about ways to get involved and make the most of Children's Advocacy Week.
Yeah, thanks, Alicia. Yes, I'm Mara with Kentucky Youth Advocates. I'm our Chief External Affairs Officer. Appreciate you all joining us today. Yes, just kind of to follow up with Alicia's comments, be sure to check out the Blueprint for Kentucky's Children Priority Agenda, that budget checklist, and the fact sheet packet to be familiar with each of the issues on that agenda for when you are able to set up meetings or talk with legislators on Children's Advocacy Day or throughout the session. To kind of get us grounded here on our advocacy toolkit, we offer that and we have it on our website for all of you all to be able to utilize. And that includes a legislator lookup tool. So, to look up who your state senator and representative is, how to contact them, their email address, mailing address, who their, what their area is, what committees they serve on, and that sort of thing, to really be familiar with who they are and what makes the most sense to contact them about. And then we also on that toolkit have the links to be able to tune in for happenings in Frankfurt. So KET does live streams, the LRC does live streams, the Legislative Research Commission, that is, to be able to watch committee meetings as they're happening. And, because not everyone can be in Frankfurt every day to hear what's going on, and to watch chambers as House and Senate do business on the floor every day. So those are there. And on the LRC, they also offered committee schedules, offers information on how to track bills, in addition to the ones that that we have on our bill tracker. Like Alicia said, there's hundreds of bills being filed every year, so kind of being able to look at those all in one place is great, but then also to just look on our bill tracker is a way to just kind of see those bills that are impacting kids and families, and to be able to see the status of those. We also encourage folks to be signed up for KYA's weekly wrap-up Friday emails so that you can kind of see the latest that's on our blog, see the latest bill movement. We also have a Blueprint specific listserv for those who are interested in just hearing about those session-related updates. And then also the bill tracker. All of that is, again, on that advocacy toolkit. So be sure to check out that page and be familiar with all the resources that we have available to you all. So one thing that, as the next piece that we're going to talk about is Jamie's going to go through the full call schedule for you all. And one thing that we really encourage folks to do, beyond joining us for the rally on, Children's Advocacy Day at the Capitol, is to use that time that you're in Frankfurt to go ahead and set up meetings with your legislators. If you are their constituent, they should and will make time for you because you are a voter in their district. So being able to set up time with them, 15 to 20 minutes in person could really do a lot. So you can either, request a meeting for that day, or, if it doesn't work out for that day or for, sometime during that week, or even throughout the session, is to set up a virtual meeting to just get on their radar, have them understand who you are, what your priorities are. We have on that advocacy toolkit that I mentioned some tips for contacting your legislators and when you have a meeting with them. So once you have a meeting set up, be sure you're coming prepared and bring, the relevant print materials and other, content that you hope to share with them. Like I said, those meetings usually only last about 20 minutes. So you want to be, brief yet concise about why you're there and what you're asking them to do. If it's related to, one of those Blueprint priority items, or, your personal story and the needs in which you see other families also going through the same struggles, for example. If you're going with a group, it's good to do introductions quickly and identify one person to kind of lead so that you all can be brief and concise while kind of showing your presence to your legislators. And one thing that we always like to say is that, going into these meetings, you never know what kind of questions they may have for you. Of course, come prepared, but if you don't know the answer to something, explain that you're unsure. And then that gives you an opportunity to follow up. And when you send a follow-up, thank you note to, say, thank you we appreciate you spending time with us and that sort of thing, gives you the opportunity in that note to remind them what you all spoke about and share any follow-up information, whether that be data, research, a little bit deeper dive on the content in which you were talking to them about. So using that as an opportunity to really to use that thank you note as an opportunity to remind them of what you asked them to do. And just a reminder that you can set up those meetings by emailing or calling, your senator or representative's office. So when you use that lookup tool, be sure to note their contact information and, shoot them an email today and say, hey, I'm going to be at Children's Advocacy Day on January 24th. Is there a time that I can meet with you? And see where it goes. So as, Children's Advocacy Week approaches, be sure to continue to check back on all of our, on the call page, on our social media and all of those pieces to make sure that you're registered for virtual events and that you have any of the schedule updates as they're coming in. And just one last final shameless plug to make sure you're following KYA on social media, on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, because that's a great way to stay informed about everything that's happening in Frankfort related to kids and families, and the latest information about Children's Advocacy Week as we draw closer. So appreciate you all being here. I'm going to turn it back over to Jamie to be able to walk us through the full call schedule.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Mara. So yeah, let's go ahead and review the various virtual and in-person events scheduled for the week. So all of our virtual events will occur on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So please make sure that you're registering for those individual events by using the link that we're providing in the chat. That link will take you directly to our page where you can register. But starting on Monday, January 22nd, we'll start off with our Children's Advocacy Week kickoff event that will be streamed live on Facebook. There's actually no registration for this event. You could just pop onto Facebook and view it live. And following that, as Alicia stated, on Monday afternoon, we will feature a lunch and learn that will provide an overview of the Blueprint for Kentucky's Children agenda. And this event will really help prep you on important items that could frame your discussions as you're championing different issues. So on Tuesday, we will host a legislative perspective and advocate conversation. This is an opportunity to hear directly from state legislators, followed by reflections from a Kentucky youth and a conversation and Q&A opportunity with KYA's policy team. We also invite you to attend the Data and Advocacy Lunch and Learn that will highlight Kids Count data and information about ACEs as it applies to Kentucky kids. And then we're going to close Tuesday with a coffee networking break featuring a Q&A opportunity with Frankfort insiders and lobbyists about things to consider when reaching out to legislators and how best to engage with them to create change. Now we're on to Wednesday, which is our big day. That's the day at the Capitol. We encourage you to bring all of your enthusiasm, all of your energy to Frankfort to rally and speak up for kids this day. Just a really good tip is to make sure that you plan to arrive early to the Capitol building, which will give you enough time to park, enough time to wait in line and get through security, and also to find a spot for the rally, whether that's in the rotunda or on the mezzanine level. And with that, if you are an adult or you're bringing a group of youth that are high school students, please note that anyone who is 18 and over will need a state-issued ID to get into the building. All right. So we will gather in the Capitol Rotunda for the rally at 10 a.m. Again, this will be streamed on Facebook, but during the rally, you'll be able to hear remarks from Kentucky officials and youth. And then directly following the rally, you'll have different options set up. You may attend the Blueprint Showcase. There are committee meetings that will be going on. We hope that many of you have scheduled meetings with your legislators at this point. This is also a great opportunity to network. As we saw earlier, there's many newbies coming in, so it'd be nice to have a newbie meet up with one of our pro or experienced folks. There's also lunch that can be had in the cafeteria, and also our social media station will be set up during that entire time. So just a reminder that the tunnel to the annex is not open to anyone without a badge. So anytime you leave, you're going to have to go through security. For any youth groups that are attending, You will have your own tracks and schedules, and we'll be sending those out to you within the week. So on Thursday, we'll start off with an advocate networking coffee break, which will feature state legislators, one of which is Representative Dietz. And then we also invite you to attend a legislative perspective and advocate conversation with education committee chairs. Which, whew, that gets us all the way to Friday. And we will be hosting a celebration on that day via Facebook that will just showcase and highlight all the different things that you've participated in that week. So clearly, that's a lot of different events going on. You know, we cannot wait to see the different ways that you engage with each other and are active during the week. And my one last major pro tip for you is to please make sure that you download and use the Call app to stay up to date with different activities through the week. It's especially useful for anyone that is attending the day at the Capitol. So yeah, make sure you get that. But to provide an overview and to talk about the best way to utilize that app, my colleague Sasa will guide you through it.
What a transition, Jamie. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Sasa. I'm on the KYA team as well. And I have the joy of telling y'all about this wonderful tool, which is our CAW app. Now, before we start talking about anything, I do want to take a moment. If you are joining us by your computer, take out your phone and scan this QR code. If you are joining us by phone, we will be dropping the link in of how to download the app. If you prefer going to App Store or the Play Store or anything like that, look up the platform called YAP, WAPP. And then when you're instructed, there'll be an ID code that we're going to put into the chat as well, which is that CAWKY. And then you'll be showing the same thing that we're watching. So think of the app very much as your virtual hub. Everything that you're going to need, everything that we've been talking about, even small resources that you think, oh, well, you know, where do I park at the Capitol? Where's the rotunda? All of that is going to be centralized within this app. And actually, if we can transfer over, thank you so much while we're working on that, we're going to go over 3 big features that we have within the app once it's pulled up. But if you are joining, feel free to look at it as we're talking about that. And in one little click, we're actually going to start in schedules, Kelsey, if you don't mind. Perfect. So when you hit schedules, you'll have the option of being able to view all your events, or you'll be able to view them all by the day. If you click on one, you're going to see, as of right now, currently the registration link of every single event that requires one, or the link to a Facebook Live event. Usually they'll take them to Facebook till we have those lives up, and then that will be immediately updated. As you can see on the bottom where it says add to my schedule, you're actually able to personalize each one of your schedules. So if you see an event that you really want to have throughout the week and you don't want to forget, click on that. And then once you get to the schedule in the upper right-hand corner, you'll be able to see your own personalized schedule. It will send you notifications once they start going, as well as some more information. But always make sure that you are registering beforehand. With that, we're also going to go and transfer over to documents. This is where you're going to see all the lovely information that we have been talking about, our fact sheets, our county data book, the rotunda map, or excuse me, the Capitol map. All that's going to be here, and it downloads it within your app. That way you save your storage in your phone, and you'll be able to access it from the comfort of your own phone. I would, as we've recommended, please download it before you hit to the Capitol. Wi-Fi is a little bit spotty, but if you already have the app, you're going to be able to use all the resources that are already there. Last one I think we're going to cover is going to hit that ellipses, and we're going to look at announcements. Exactly. So us on the KYA team, communications team, we're going to make sure that you are as updated as possible, whether that's an announcement of, hey, in 30 minutes, we're going to start our rally, or if there's any changes to the schedule, or if our blueprint showcase is starting, we're going to be able to make announcements there. And you yourselves are also able to make announcements. We highly recommend, if you're from a group or if you're from alone, say, hey, is anyone from Madison County here? We'd love to talk and maybe meet up where we're meeting. You are more than able to communicate with other attendees there on this app, and we greatly encourage you doing that. I believe that is all from the information that I have. I'm going to look over real quick, but definitely recommend, if all of this goes right over your head as soon as I'm done talking, please check out that FAQ section. It's going to tell you exactly how to use the app, what is the importance of the app, what schedule should I be looking at, what should I know before I go in. But thank you so much, y'all. I can't wait to see y'all virtually. And I'm going to pass it back, I believe, to Jamie.
Thank you, Sasa, and everyone else for the helpful information and tips. Now, it looks like we have plenty of time to answer a few questions. So if you have any, please use the chat feature and share them. I know I saw a few floating around while I was talking. I think one of them was about dress code. I think a lot of people will be in business casual, but I know there are a few of you that are bringing students. Also, come as you are. We want you there, right? Let's see here. There was also a question about how to meet with veteran advocates. I would say if you see anyone with a KYA name tag, feel free to approach them. We can talk to you, or we can definitely connect you with someone who's a veteran and has attended several times. Yes, Linda put in the chat, wear comfortable shoes. The marble floors are no joke. That is the ultimate pro tip. Please believe. Let's see here. Oh, our virtual options geared towards students. Yes. If you want to join from the classroom and allow your students to participate, please allow them to do that. Some of the virtual events will have youth that will be helping to facilitate discussion. So we encourage that. Are there any more? Yes, Nikki, I know we've kind of talked about that. I can connect with you about accessibility, any kind of accessibility needs, for sure. Are there any more? Well, if no one has any other questions, that pretty much wraps up our session today. Any questions that you may have, please reach out to us. And we will make sure that we send out a follow-up email with a link to this recording. And again, we want to thank our sponsors for their support of these events, as well as thank each of you advocates for your dedication and commitment to the well-being of kids. We cannot wait to see you rally with us in Frankfurt as we celebrate 20 years. Again, 20 years. But please download the app and register for all the virtual events. Be well, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.